Okay, so I wanted to make a video about the whole Deshaun Watson rumors. The Raiders could possibly be a landing spot, possibly. Most people have the Raiders down at either the 5th spot or the 6th likely spot. At this point in time, I think if it has to do with any team, it's going to be either the 49ers or the Dolphins. But I want to explain why it's not going to be the Raiders. There's a couple reasons why it doesn't make sense. One of them is financially. Deshaun Watson has a huge contract. Derek Carr's is actually pretty manageable. When he first got his contract, I think it was the highest paid, but at this point, he's way down the list now, and I'm sure if he did a re-deal and some type of 5-year extension, it would be a lot cheaper than Deshaun Watson's contract. With the whole COVID-19, the earnings hits for all the owners, and the revenue is just way down. The salary cap's gone down, so we're strapped right now as it is. It just doesn't make any sense from a financial standpoint. And then another thing you could look at is just your other options if you actually were trying to go another path for quarterback other than Derek Carr. So you obviously got some holes on the team, especially on the defense. And if you wanted to go a separate route from Derek Carr and then build the team at the same time, you'd obviously want to maybe trade Carr for whatever type of value you could get. I've heard that the Patriots offered a first-round pick last year before the year started. It was before they signed Cam Newton. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but that there was an inside source, supposedly anonymous, I believe, that said that. So I think that the Raiders would actually trade Carr for maybe a first-round pick or a couple of second-round picks, and then pick, a mid-round quarterback before they'd actually, go with trading for Deshaun Watson. You look at some guys like Trey Lance or Mac Jones. They're obviously going to be available at 18, most likely. I believe it's 18 we pick at, 17 or 18. It should be 18. But, yeah, that's right. We got 18, but we're the 17th pick in the second round because we swap with Arizona for one reason or another. But I just think that it would make a lot more sense and cap-friendly. You see a lot of these teams, like the Seahawks years ago, Mahomes before he got his big contract. You see teams when they have their quarterback on their rookie deal and they have a stellar defense and some other guys that are getting paid other than the quarterback, they normally tend to make a run a lot more often. You've seen ever since Green Bay paid Aaron Rodgers, I think they've been to the National League, the National Conference Championship a couple times, but they haven't even been back to the Super Bowl. So I think that it would make the most sense to actually draft either like Trey Lance or Mac Jones and trade Derek Carr than to go with Deshaun Watson. With that in mind, I think the best option is to actually keep Carr at this time. He just keeps getting better and better, believe it or not. That whole 2016 year, we always act like that was the height of his career. I just think he had some extremely clutch performances that year. His rating was actually better the last 2 years, I believe, than that year. And there was a lot of bailing out on that defense. Either Khalil Mack or Bruce Irvin made some clutch sacks at a lot of the end of those games. Strip sacks, interceptions by Reggie Nelson. So, I think that we're better off just staying with Carr. And once again, we'd rather draft a quarterback and trade off Carr than trade for Watson. What are you going to give up for Watson? I don't know if they're going to want Derek Carr back just because of the bad taste in their mouth from David from years ago. So you're going to end up giving... I don't think they want anybody on this roster, so you're going to have to give like a first rounder and a second rounder this year and like a fourth rounder next year. That's what I had assumed that we'd have to give him. So, it's all still speculation at this point, but I don't even know if Deshaun Watson's going to be traded, to be quite honest with you. I think the other Houston professional team, their basketball team, what they're doing with Harden is similar with what the Texans will end up doing with Deshaun Watson. I think that they might not even end up trading him. They might just hardball him and force him to stay. It's a really unfortunate situation for him. I live here in Atlanta, Georgia, and Deshaun Watson is from like 25 minutes northeast of Atlanta. So, I mean, he's a guy that a lot of people where I live, they're familiar with him, and a lot of people feel bad for him, and I do too. I just think that he deserves more, and for him not to be involved in that GM search, that's just absolutely pathetic. So, it is what it is. I think that this may sound stupid, but you'd rather trade for Carson Wentz than Derek Carr. And the only reason why I say that is because you could probably restructure Carson Wentz's deal. I know that doesn't really happen that often, but I think that if they can't find a logical suitor, Philadelphia, for Carson Wentz, if Indianapolis doesn't want him, I think the next thing is going to be Philadelphia is going to tell him, say, hey, the only suitors we can find you is if we trade you to somebody and they restructure your contract. And, if you trade Carr away and get Wentz on a restructured contract, which is somewhere around the same price as Derek Carr's contract, that could make a little bit more sense. But I know it might sound crazy. I don't think we're trading for a quarterback anyways, but Deshaun Watson just isn't the way to go, especially just because of our cap strap that we're going to have this year. So it would be nice. I do think he's a little better than Carr, but we're going to be better off sticking with Carr.